be seated. Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Reverend Laura Solomon. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am privileged to serve as the minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading. We gather today to celebrate the ministry of Katie McQuage-Loukas and are so grateful to all of you, colleagues and friends, who are here with us today. I'm so grateful to everyone who worked together to make this event happen, both those of you who you will see up on the chancel today and those who have been busily working behind the scenes for weeks. I'm particularly grateful to Mary Cunningham and Trevor Behrens and our choir for the music you will hear today, for all of you that provided cupcakes and treats outside, for the flower providers and the tech team, to our sexton, Matt, and to Katie's former internship committee. Laura Cavicchio, Nancy Nienhaus, and Michelle Catalano have been particularly instrumental in making today happen. Ordination is a sacred religious ritual. In our Unitarian Universalist polity, ordination is at the discretion of congregations. A person can only become a UU minister through a congregation affirming that they believe in their ministry and wish to make that person a minister. The membership of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading voted and was unanimous in their affirmation of Katie's ministry. To get to this point, Katie has completed her seminary education, her internship, her clinical pastoral education, and has successfully passed an interview with the Ministerial Fellowship Committee. Today is a celebration and an affirmation of Katie's ministry. It is a ritual in which Katie will take up the mantle of Unitarian Universalist ministry and in which we entrust her with the work of ministry. It is good to be together.
Unitarian Universalism is a vibrant tradition that dares us to say that there is possibility, that not all stories have been written, that not all lessons have been learned, that there is more. There is more. And we can only encounter that more through encounters with one another, in the quiet stillness, in relationship, in awe. As we come together this day in this time of worship and reflection, I invite into this space the memory of a teacher of interfaith spirituality, the Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman, who mentored many in the civil rights generation, including many of our ministers. Reverend Thurman said, "In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of the holy, my heart whispers, keep fresh before me the moments of my highest resolve. Whether in good times or in tempests, may I not forget that to which my life is committed. And may we, in our congregation, in our community here, whether we're watching online or in the third row, not forget what we are called to be and do and witness. And may that love which has called Katie into this space be with us now as we light the chalice of our faith."
For the chalice lighting today, I will read The Task of the Religious Community by Mark Morrison Reed. The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connectedness, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. Once felt, inspires us to act towards justice. It is the church that assures us that we are not struggling for justice on our own, but as members of a larger community. The religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength too limited to do all that must be done. Together, our vision widens, and our strength is renewed. Our opening hymn is Come Thou Font, number 126 in the Gray Hymnals.
My name is Tori Rosati, and I had the gift and privilege of accompanying Katie during seminary, and it is an honor to share this special moment with you and be part of this beautiful service. The Living Tradition Fund supports the Unitarian Universalist ministry by providing needs-based funds for education, student loan repayment for new ministers, and emergency assistance for seminarians, ministers, and other religious professionals and their families. One major source of income for the fund is ordinations, a moment when we collectively think about the journey to ministry and through ministry. It has become a tradition for ordination offerings to support this fund. And your generous gift today will help grow future ministries and encourage the future of our faith tradition. This morning's offering will now be gratefully received.
When we
Our reading is entitled, Ministry is All That We Do Together, by Gordon McKeeman. Ministry is that quality of being in community that affirms human dignity, beckons forth hidden possibilities, invites us into deeper, more constant, reverent relationships, and carries forward our heritage of hope and liberation. Ministry is what we do together as we celebrate triumphs of our human spirit, miracles of birth and life, wonders of devotion and sacrifice. Ministry is what we do together with one another, in terror and torment, in grief, in misery and pain, enabling us in the presence of death to say yes to life. We who minister speak and live the best we know with full knowledge that it is never quite enough, and yet are reassured by lostness found, fragments reunited, wounds healed, and joys shared. Ministry is what we all do together.
Good afternoon. Katie and Chris, thank you for this opportunity to stand before you, to speak at your ordination. It's an important and auspicious time. If this service doesn't go over an hour and a half, it's not official in terms of the Unitarian Universalists Association. I suspect that now falls on me. There was an old tradition when we talked about covenant all the time. Churches like Reading and First Church in Boston, they all brought their ministers up from the ranks of the people. It was extraordinarily unusual to ordain someone who wasn't connected deeply, almost generationally, into the life of the people. And Katie stands before you as a person who's been a lay person in numerous churches. She came to Boston, joined our church, and within 2 years became co-chair of the entirety of the church. We needed her. We needed her vibrancy. We needed her judgment. We needed her energy, and most of all, we just needed her. And she stepped in, and she made good things happen. And then something terrible happened. She went off to become a minister. And it's been a long journey, and people here at Reading understand exactly what I'm talking about, because isn't that what she did in your lives? She stepped in. She made a difference. She brought her vibrancy, and she brought her honor. Her honor. And talking about this sermon, I said to her I wanted to talk about the great conspiracy. Years and years ago, I discovered that the word conspire, and of course we live in a very conspiratorial age, don't we, means to breathe together. So every time I walk into a UU congregation, I want to breathe with all of you. One breath. And if you think about it, Unitarianism and Universalism both are connected by the little word you and I that joins them, connects them, and makes them one. Unity. To breathe as one. To understand that everything we do, our heartbeat, our sense that we do not wish to be alone in life, that we can't make the difference in changing the world that we'd like to make, we cannot do it alone. We must breathe together. That is a lovely conspiracy to be a part of. And you now head off to Texas. Boy, that's conspiratorial territory. You're gonna love that. Going home to make a difference, to step in and bring your energy and your vision and your honor. Why do we come together the way we do? And why is it important? Why do people come here? Why do they care to connect? Why do they wish to be one? Well, yes, we do wish to connect. We want to express the deepest reality that there is, that no one has entered this world on your own. We had the pleasure of being in Chicago to hold a new grandchild in our arms. This kid knows nothing. Everything about this child's existence is the expression of love and unity to be bound into the love of the family that has born her into this world. This is the deepest reality we ever have. To bind and to heal and to construct bridges across ancient and real divides, and to comfort, and to comfort. And we come because we are yearning people. We long for more than we find. We see a world that could be and is not yet. And so we come to hope. And we come to grow. Thoreau was once asked, and he was not a great churchgoer, I assure you. He was quite angry that Emerson insisted that his funeral be in a church. He wasn't happy about that. He said, "I wish to make my life a sacrament." And that's really the tone and tenor of my remarks this morning as we talk about the great conspiracy. Why do we wish to be together? Why do we wish to breathe together? The answer is to make our days a sacrament. Because the ancients told us that the wind of the holy was to be found in our breath, in our soul, in our throat. In the Greek, pneuma, and in the Hebrew, rosh, the holy wind of the eternal, that we breathe in and breathe out and breathe together. And if we come to do that, we wish to know joy. We understand life is painful. We understand it's full of travails. Katie knows that. That's why she cares about doing this work. And if I reflect on anything that I wished I'd been told when I was a young Unitarian Universalist minister, back actually when we preached from tablets, not electronic tablets. We really had tablets. I had this sense that the excitement of being a UU minister was to play with ideas and thrilling thoughts and rhetoric. And I wish someone had helped me understand much earlier than I did, is that the chief mission of ministry is to accompany people that live in their bodies. Yes, we think, we have holy high thoughts. We're smarter than the average bear. We all know how smart Unitarians are. But I didn't understand for a long time that my job, and I mean this, and I'm trying to convey this to you, is to just hang with people, to be there for them, never run away, just witness them, share everything from the first breath and to the dying breath. everything that we experience in our bodies, this conspiracy to breathe, people understand that you're not there to tell them eternal truths. Because one, they already have the truth within them. Two, Unitarian Universalist ministers don't possess eternal truths. But we are there to love, to companion, to befriend, and to stick with them. And what does that mean? That means that, yes, you will be held to a high standard of excellence. It is a great honor and privilege to be ordained into the Unitarian Universalist ministry. But I would like to hold you to something higher, which is a standard of exuberance. And if you will, and I believe it can be done, hold you to a high standard of nothing less than exaltation. To share the beauty and brevity of life with these people that share bodies with us. This brief life. To be incarnated into flesh and being. And to just understand that. Which means that we are also people of yearning. And Katie, you emphasized again and again, shared ministry. Now, today is your day. It's a special day. But everything you know, because you've been raised up from the people, you've been raised up as a lay leader and as a member who sat in many a pew, you understand deeply this essential truth of the mission. To live this unity, the oneness. It is the essential reality. It is the truth of our days. It's not doctrine. It's not creedal. It's simply lived experience. And that's really what shared ministry is. Lived experience. Unitarian Universalism has been around for over 400 years. It's not a fly-by-night effervescence. It's not a bubble of experience. A lot of people have paid a great price to allow us to express the spiritual freedom that we share, that is worthy of our devotion, worthy of our commitment, worthy of our ability to look and to yearn for the future, and to hand it on to a new generation, emboldened and even more vivid than we found it. So in some sense, we embody an ancient faith. And what that means is that we not only share a ministry with the people in front of us, we also share a ministry with the people yet to come, who will darken the door and walk in on some rainy morning when they've lost a mother, or been divorced, or lost their job, and they want to breathe together in the great conspiracy. They want to be held. They want tenderness, and they want to be seen as someone precious. Yes, they want ideas and interesting thoughts, but mainly they want to be seated just like you are, together. In the end, I'm not a Unitarian Universalist because I have a lot of opinions about things. I'm a Unitarian Universalist because I've wanted to find a place all my life where I could stand in integrity and to become a more generous person than I normally am, and to begin to understand the ancient Greek phrase of as above, as below. Somehow in the overarching, teeming reality in which we share, this shared breath we have to understand in the end we are here to experience the highest truth there is. Is it atoms and molecules and blind cause and effect that brought us to this day? No. We believe in the essence of your best self. Has to move in freedom and dignity and compassion into your best self so that you may move into harmony with a deeper reality. That is what we are here to breathe together. I don't believe that there is one particular almighty God who has ordained everything from the beginning of time and made us into moral and mortal puppets. But I do believe that there is an eternal energy that is burning through us, luring us on, inviting us to share that breath, to be free, and so that we don't have to go alone. I believe this is the foundation rock upon which our faith has stood for 400 years. Katie is brave enough to step onto the rock, and she invites us all. She understands it's a risk, it's a challenge, it's not easy. We all know that. But this is a very hopeful sermon, because in the end, I believe that there is a new generation impatient and ready to invite us to share this deeper, holy reality. Matthew Fox, a radical Catholic theologian, says, we need to be free to do this. We also need a house and a home, and long friendships, and deep tradition and roots. He says all spirituality is about roots. It's about living a deeply rooted and therefore radical, non-superficial life. So we got Thoreau saying, let's make our life a sacrament. And to that I will now add, Katie, you invite people into a radical, non-superficial life. That's about as powerful as I've ever heard it expressed. Because without each other, we just aren't complete. And without this tradition and its roots, we can't necessarily lift our hands towards the future either, to make our lives a sacrament, to find and hear the divine wind, to feel in our throats and in our lungs and in the bowels of our body, Rausch, the divine, the breath. It's pretty simple. You don't actually need a degree from Harvard Divinity School or Boston Theological School. This is simple, simple, simple stuff. And that is the blessing of our faith as Unitarian Universalists. To witness, to companion, to befriend, to never run away. St. Teresa of Avila said, no one can ever know if you believe in God or not, but they will notice if you love your neighbor or not. Why do we come here? Why do we come here? I believe it is for shared ministry. I believe it is so that we may be one. Not simply as a song that we sing, or poetical rhetoric that sounds beautiful upon the tongue, but because it's really lived in hospital rooms, and sharing coffee and talking in the parking lot, being together, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, to understand in the end, as James Luther Adams said, Church is not an end to itself. It is not a refuge from real life. It is a place to prepare for more effective living. So this is what I wish for you this day. To be able to help people breathe together. To let it grow. To link up with other faiths and movements. To understand the larger cause of justice and mercy. One breath. These are some things I wish someone had told me. But you learn them. You learn them the real way by just loving your people. Because you were once a layperson. And you get it. And you understand. So let us breathe as one. Let us breathe together for a world as one, one hope, one love. Amen, and join me in a very short and sweet prayer. O Eternal, bind us to the tenor of this day, to the song of life, cutting across all generations, for Katie's long journey of service and compassion, so that she may know love beyond fear, hope beyond despair, and life over death, so that she may have a long journey of service and compassion, so that the promise of covenant forms a connection from a pastor arising from among the people, bound to the people, listening and witnessing to the people's lives, to serve and to companion across the deep years, to be part of the living movement of the free faith, our faith, a faith of freedom and dignity, justice, and a long hope. Above all, how sweet the sound. May Katie's voice be resilient and strong, speaking truth and mercy all of her days, but let her song be one of harmony, joined to the great choir, most of all, to an abiding love. Amen. And the act of ordination.
Ready for this? It's my great pleasure. I'm Nancy Nienhaus. I'm part of the board here and part of the intern committee. So it's my great pleasure to do the act of ordination with all of you on behalf of our president of the board, Lorraine Dennis, and other members of the board, and then all of you who are members of UUCR here and part of this congregation. Okay, your words of response are in your order of service. In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, congregations have the authority and power to ordain ministers, as Reverend Kendrick pointed out in his beautiful message to us. It is the congregations who recognize the gifts of a minister and affirm them in their call. It is the congregations who charge a minister with the sacred trust of ministry. Today, the UU Church of Reading is ordaining Katie McQuage-Loukas into Unitarian Universalist ministry. The Ministerial Fellowship Committee has affirmed your ministry, Katie, and we, the congregation, have also affirmed it. Are you prepared to enter into this vocation and commit yourself to Unitarian Universalist ministry?
I am.
Okay. Will the members of this congregation please join in the words of ordination? We, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading, hereby ordain you, Katie, to ministry. We charge you to faithfully live out your ministry wherever it calls you, bringing your whole self and all that you are. We charge you to build a loving community, speak truth, and to work for justice and a more compassionate world. And will the full gathered community of congregation, friends, family, and colleagues join in this affirmation? We affirm this admonition with gladness, recognizing the unfolding ministry we have witnessed. You have not been alone in this work. You will not be alone, for we will travel with you. We offer our love and support as your journey through ministry continues.
Congratulations, Reverend. Reverend Katie McQuage-Loukas. I am Reverend Laura Cavicchio, a retired chaplain and a longtime member of this congregation. I had the privilege of serving as the chair of the intern committee that supported and guided Katie through her learning and ministerial development process in her 2 years of internship. Katie, our committee loved journeying with you. We loved being with you on your path to ministry, and we love that you are going forth from this church into your future. We and all of us here, I know, are so proud of you. Your ministry with us was indelibly shaped by the COVID pandemic outside and difficult challenges inside our faith community. This was an internship of heavy lifting and persistent change. Everybody here knows what I mean by that. UUCR gratefully bears witness that you weathered it all and then some. You rose to be a light in worship. You were a balm of ministerial care in relationship. Your pastoral presence and preaching brought folks back to church and new folks in the door. Of Katie, it was memorably stated, she is a rock star. And more poignantly, it was stated, Katie has been an anchor in our storm. So it is my pleasure now to introduce the ordination gifts. And first, we have the robe. I invite Katie's husband, Chris, to present the robe given by the people of First Parish, Cambridge, UU, where Katie has served for the last 10 months, I think, yes. Beautiful. So beautiful. Wow. And next we have the stole. I invite forward members of our UUCR quilters, Molly Bicking, Lynn Champion, and Kitty Craig Coleman, who created the beautiful stole that is now being given by our congregation on this very happy day. And will you please come and stand next to Katie? UUCR is blessed to have an active and vibrant group of quilters who craft superb quilts for our sanctuary and auctions. You can see one of them hanging right here today, and stoles for intern ministers. Not quite yet. Katie has asked the members of the intern committee to be up here too for the offering of the stole, because Katie says that they, intern committee, please, I'm sorry, Rob Craig Coleman, Dakota Rain, Janae Tishy, and Nancy Neenhouse. You represent the people of this church on this day, and you represent our commitment to our denomination's future. We have been a teaching church for many, many years, and we're very proud of that. So now the moment of stoling has come.
I know. It's all the hair. Yeah, there's so much hair.
Every minister's stole has special meaning. For Katie, the imagery of ocean and a rocky New England shore remind her of the beauty and spiritual replenishment she found here on our coast that she knows she will take with her back to Texas. This and the forest image on the stole's back reflect Katie's pagan roots. The quilters included an inscription inside, and it reads, "Dedicated to Katie McQuage-Loukas for providing spiritual, emotional, and social support to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading during the COVID pandemic as ministerial intern from 2020 to 2022. We are grateful for your compassionate pastoral care, insights, wisdom, and humor in leading worship services. Grateful for working with our congregation and staff during our time of great need and transition, made with love and gratitude." Congratulations, Katie. So we're all going to stay up here, and Dr. Nancy Neenhouse of the intern committee is joining me here for the laying on of hands. Katie, where do you want to stand?
I'm going to put you down at the bottom there. Great.
Katie, this congregation has joyfully ordained you. I think I might actually add exuberantly. And through the power of shared ritual, our hands will join hands with those of the larger community to offer our blessing on you and your ministry. We bring not only the blessing of our own hands, but the accumulated blessings of those who came before us.
Hands have the power to heal, the power to comfort, the power to bless, and the power to transform. I invite Chris to begin the primary support as Katie explored her call and Chris traveled the long road to this moment. Chris, your hands represent your love, the love of family and friends, and I don't need to ask you to place a hand on Katie because that's already happened. I invite the members of the UUCR Internship Committee and the quilters to go down and place a hand on Katie, or a hand on someone who has a hand on Katie. And just gather around.
I invite forward the members of the UU Church of Reading to lay a hand on someone connected to Katie, joining your blessing with theirs and all of ours. So please do come forward, members of this church. Members and friends, if some of you are sitting, please. And then we will move on to colleagues, friends from the many communities connected to Katie, everyone present in this sanctuary, please extend your hand in blessing. And we want to be sure to include those who are joining us virtually. You are invited to extend a hand in blessing. We are all connected. This moment, right now, is sacred.
Hands have the power to heal, the power to comfort, the power to bless, and the power to transform. In closing, let us hear these words by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Ann Parker. Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, its chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting.
Amen. You may return to your seats.
Okay. So Katie asked Daniel and I to do the Hand of Fellowship, and she said, just make it up. So this is the improv part of the ordination. When I experienced what you just experienced, I realized that someone had placed their hands upon the young Theodore Parker. And then, all the way up to me, and all the services that we witnessed at First Church, and that you've witnessed since. An electric chord of connection. I actually felt a vibration and a power that day. And I'm not Mr. Mystical, but it was real. It was so powerful. And now the new tradition has evolved where everyone comes forward and places their hands. So in fact, it goes back literally, generation upon generation. It's almost too much for the heart to take. And yet, it is our responsibility, Daniel and I, to offer you the hand of fellowship. And I was asking, how do we want to divvy this up? And you very nicely, instead of saying old and decrepit, said, Stephen, I think you can represent wisdom. And so that deep wisdom that you felt literally as a vibration, I offer the hand of fellowship from a movement that so deeply needs you, appreciates you, and will stand by you as you stand by it. For all the heritage and tradition that has been given to us as a gift. Daniel?
Well, I have a wonderful reminder of what month it is. Pride Month. And I think it is amazing that in 2023, you are being ordained to the ministry of our faith. You have been ordained to the ministry of our faith, and you are part of a tradition that says all people are whole, holy, and good. Whole, holy, and good. The first time I met Katie, she was already preaching She was already preaching. I was visiting First Church Boston, and I thought, oh, who's that minister? And it was Katie. And you have been ministering in so many communities, in so many contexts, from Sanctuary Boston to this beautiful congregation right here, to First Church Boston, First Parish Cambridge, and now Bayshore. I extend this hand in profound humility because you are a minister in our faith, and you have ministered to so many ministers. You have ministered to so many families. You have ministered to a world that genuinely is aching, and you show up in love anyways. So welcome, and I extend this hand of fellowship. We are getting, yes. And it is very humbling to offer this charge for countless reasons. And one of them is that the very minister who offered his charge to me, Reverend Jose Ballastar, died this week. And he was a good man. And he often would say things like, don't let your idealism become a delusion. Show up. Meet reality as it is. This faith is a call to meet reality, not to avoid it. Show up. At one point in time, a 23-year-old is going to come to your congregation completely confused, and you have the gift to be present. At one point, as so many times, someone is going to call you with the deepest devastation they have faced, and you are called to be present. And you also, as Reverend Jose reminded me, have an obligation to Chris and your family to hold those relationships and that time sacred, because you cannot give from an empty well. And Reverend Jose said you have to hold those relationships sacred because this journey is going long. And we need rest and respite and joy. So hold that call. This faith you live. Lorraine Hainsbury, who's a poet, a playwright, a civil rights activist, someone who called us to be better, once said, let us take courage. Once upon a time, physics overwhelmed human minds. It still does mine. And it came to pass that we who had no wings came to command the air and fly among the birds. So surely, if we start to turn our attention to the hearts and minds of all of us, not only will we be able to fly, we'll be able to love. So in all those contexts, right now, you are joining a faith tradition of those ministering in Manila, ministering in Dublin, ministering in the Kashi Hills of India, ministering in California, ministering in North Dakota, ministering in Florida, ministering right here, and soon in Texas. So may you embody this faith that is in your heart, and may you give and receive the love that you offer to so many. And the journey is just starting. Be safe and well, my friend. May it be so. And in that spirit, as Reverend Jose would want us to sing, would you join in number 131, Love Will Guide Us?
On the road
little too tearful to quite be able to read the clock. I don't know if we hit an hour and a half, Stephen. I don't know. But I don't think a half-hour benediction will do us too much good. So I will keep it short and sweet. My friends, so many of you have touched my life in so many ways, and I have found so much joy and love in it. And my blessing for all of us this day is that we will always find joy and love in the ministry we are all doing in all the parts of our lives. So that is my hope and my blessing for us all. Joy, love, and peace be with you.